Hello, all you wonderful Rise of Kingdoms players out there. This is Dragothian here, and as we saw in the chat, I am joined by my illustrious co-host, Gecko from Gecko Gaming. We're going to be casting what looks to be an amazing matchup today. So first off, r0se versus UCS. We've seen what UCS has done this season. It has been amazing. r0se also coming in strong over the last few weeks, really putting it to their opponents. We're going to go through some of that stuff here in the pregame, but I also want to kind of show you what the playoffs are looking like. So we are in the quarterfinals of the Season 3 of the Osiris League, and sure enough, we've got r0se versus UCS, which is going to be one of those good ones here, right? So they beat 411K, which I think personally, I wasn't too surprised, but it was an underdog upset for most people looking at this matchup. 411K being the realm of Anubis champions from the previous season, and really putting it to JWM as well that season, losing to r0se. So r0se has stepped up their game significantly. When we look at UCS, same thing, putting it to some pretty solid teams here. r0se, PTAL, 96, 411S, and really just kind of cruising through all the previous round of 16, round of 32, and then even the qualifiers before that. So we've got some serious action coming your way. r0se versus UCS is going to be one that you're going to want to watch for sure, which is what's going to be happening live here and right now. Now, in just a couple minutes, I'm going to bring Gecko in, and we're going to go ahead and get the ball rolling, but I wanted to quickly go over some of the matchups as well. So first off, we've also got OV and HKL happening a little bit later today. The winner of this one plays the winner of the match that you're going to see here in just under 5 minutes. On the other bracket, we've got r0se versus K374. This one's going to be a good one. K374, formerly known as SFS. This was kind of a little bit of a princely change, if you get what I'm putting down. r0se going up against a very strong SFS team, and r0se is very strong on their own right, too. So this is going to be one that's going to be happening at the same time that the match you're watching on this stream is happening. So we'll try and check in and see when that's going to kind of happen. And then also JWM versus Snow, which is going to be our next casted matchup. Chisgul is going to be hosting that one alongside of myself as well. So we're going to be having action-packed fights coming up here very shortly. And it's going to be one to really look at and see who's going to win, because whoever wins this matchup is probably going to go up against, well, not probably, they're going to go up against whoever wins this matchup here. And I think the heavy favorites are obviously going to be HKL. They're the Season 2 winners of the Realm of Horus. It's going to be a very good match to watch. Interesting to see if anybody has kind of figured out the book, which I haven't really seen. Nobody's really seen the book on HKL. They just seem to just win. So we're going to see if OV can break that code in about 3 hours. And then same thing with whoever wins this matchup. If they end up going against them in the semifinals, we'll see if they can go ahead and do the same thing. So really quickly as well, I want to jump over to the Realm of Anubis. I know that we're not casting any Anubis stuff, but this has got a really solid look to it as well. 58 HK going up against P636. KKSA against ADVS. That's a good one to watch as well at the 15 UTC hour. E8IY versus V636. This is the powerhouse of the Realm of Anubis right now. This is kind of the HKL, the JWM, if you want to look at it that way, of Realm of Anubis. And then also 68 RB versus 1590. Those are two really scrappy teams as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that one plays out too. So let's jump back over to the Realm of Horus here. I think that when we're looking at the champion, right, which is going to be happening in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, guys. We got this. Yeah, 2 hours. Sorry. we got this. We got this week. Then we've got the next week. And then after next week, the finals. Whoever's going to be here is going to be crowned champion. I'm interested to see if we're going to be doing an international Osiris Invitational kind of thing like we did last season. I'm really hoping we do something like that too, because there's some quality teams on both realms that I would love to see face off against each other again like we saw last season. So we're going to see how that plays out. It is 8 o'clock my time, so 13 UTC. Let's see if we can go ahead and get the match rolling and see if we can... Oh, there we go. Watch. Gecko, I'm going to go ahead and transition it over to you, buddy. So everybody, I apologize. My audio is not picking up Gecko. He just gave an amazing intro on how awesome r0se is looking and how we're going to be having an awesome matchup that we're looking at. Um, I'm going to try and fix that throughout the match here and try and get Gecko back in. I think that it's probably something on my my setup that I've got going on over here. I do apologize, but we do have two really good matchups here. Two good alliances that we're matching up with here, UCS and r0se. And again, like we said in the pregame here, r0se is definitely looking to try and steal a win away from UCS. I think everybody's kind of seeing UCS as the favorite. That's what the bets look like. A lot of the people have put their coins on UCS to be victorious. And with r0se, I mean, we're talking a team that really in their own right has done a great job in making a name for themselves over the last couple of seasons. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Of course, whenever we open up this match, we're going to have a ton of armies coming out, all of them gold and shiny. Those T5s are going to be rolling onto the battlefield here shortly in just over 20 seconds. And like I said, I'm going to try and get Gecko back in the game here. This was probably something on my end that I'm just not pulling in his audio for some reason. I heard him just fine. It was amazing. I wish you guys could have heard it too. But I'm going to go ahead and keep casting this. In the meantime, you're going to hear a lot of my voice. Better or worse for you, but we're going to go ahead and get this ball rolling. We got 1 second left, and this battle is getting started. And you know how I like to start these matches off. I love just seeing all the armies pouring out of the front of this gate here. The armies start pouring out. You see the T1 Cav marches going out. There's r0se with a double C lead and also another one with Dragon Lancer lead, which are going to be your primary movement speed commanders. I've also started to see some Takeda primaries out there. That one's been working pretty well. And then UCS with 2 double C leads going to the obelisks here on each side to go ahead and get those things captured. Now, of course, the best thing to do on the way, which I'm kind of curious why Ende, there we go. Ende just, he just read my mind. I'm curious why they're not grabbing that outpost on the way. This is definitely something that we could, Gecko's giving me some hard time in the chat there. So we got the outpost going. Good job on Ende getting that outpost on the way. It looks like this player here decided to opt out against getting the other outpost on the other side. But somebody, I'm sure, will be grabbing that on the way. Those outposts generate 30 points per minute, folks. That's a huge deal. That is a huge deal. Whenever you have 3 outposts, that's 90 points per minute. That's effectively the second, if you count all 3 outposts, that's effectively the second highest point producing structure in the game behind the Desert Altar, which gives you 150 points per minute. So you've got the Shrines, which give you 80 points per minute, which again is 10 less than 3 outposts altogether. Gecko will have his revenge. I'm assured of that both in-game and out. And here we go. We're starting to see some of these outposts captured. Now, it looks like r0se has gotten those a lot quicker, which is good. That's a good thing for them because they're going to start generating those points a lot quicker. They're going to get their first occupation quicker. That means they're going to just be in front quicker. They've gotten all of their structures on the front there that they can grab already. There still is an outpost uncaptured for JWM, and they've got, or JWM, UCS. I was thinking about Gecko for a second. And then UCS. So, and I mean, there we go. Okay, so there comes Domcio over there to grab that outpost, seeing the need. That's probably a good 30 to 40 seconds that outpost should have been getting captured, where it's not. It's not going to be generating points for those 30 to 40 seconds. So that's going to be behind by about 30 points right off the bat, at least at the beginning. And with that being said, we've got the forward-facing structures. These are the big boy structures, right? This is what we're looking at for your points. This is what we're looking at for your buffs. This is what we're looking at to control the map. These 8 structures, you've got your altars, you've got your shrines, Shrine of War, Shrine of Life. Those are the ones that is going to be what you're going to want to really take advantage of when you're pushing both sides of the map. Now, what I've seen, and when I talk about the beginning of the match, what I've seen here is that the players who have been really aggressive have been the ones that have really started to come out on top in these matchups. When you're talking about porting in, the quicker you can port in, the better. So when we're looking at these obelisks, UCS has 1 minute and 40 on the bottom obelisk, 1 minute and 10 on the top obelisk. This looks to be trying to get captured by Ende there. That was a nice try on that grab. But that was all T1, so that didn't happen. And r0se over here has 1 minute and 15 seconds on this one. and a minute on this one. So r0se is going to get a little bit of an advantage, I think, when we're looking at, oh, no, never mind. UCS grabbed it just about 10 seconds prior. So UCS, if they poured in immediately, and here comes their rally into the obelisk, if they poured in immediately and start their rallies immediately, they're going to have a slight advantage. Whenever you can start pressing the initiative, pushing your troops and your agenda forward, they're really trying to kill this Attila with nothing but double C-led armies here. This is not going very well for UCS. Even if that was just one army, look at that, 60,000, 40,000, 30,000 damage. That's not going anywhere. That's still going to be r0se's at the end of the day. Maybe they're just trying to get their marches back. That's probably what they were trying to do. I don't know if maybe I would have done that, or maybe just tried to get the Desert Altar, which opens up in 40 seconds. They wouldn't have been able to hit you because you're so fast with your T1 and double C-led rally, double C-led army. I don't think they could have caught all of you, and maybe just try a ninja grab and fill up the Desert Altar with a bunch of T1 and see how long it could have held it. I know you wouldn't have been able to get the first cap, but maybe delay capturing that Desert Altar for about 10, 15 seconds. I don't know. Maybe that sounds like something that could be done. I'm trying. I'm trying at the same time. We do have marches coming up the middle from UCS. That's interesting to see. All cavalry. Let's see. Trying to go for this outpost here. This is going to be interesting. Here comes the structures. Let's see if everybody captures what they should. They did. Everybody has an even structure cap here. There's already a rally happening on this outpost of Seth. Let's see if this Guan rally can take on this Constantine, which, let's see what the backup to this. We got Constantine. What's the secondary to that? I'm not seeing it, but whatever it is, it's taking heavy damage. It's not doing well against this Guan Alex rally here. Both of these buildings can only keep a max of 500,000 troops, guys. So that's something that's interesting to see. A lot of people are starting to rally these structures right off the bat just because it's just something that can be rallied early. The only downside, again, we just talked about the 500,000 troops here that these buildings can hold. That means that the rallies can only hold 500,000 troops. So even if you take them, you're kind of left with maybe two armies with 90,000 troops left if they've got a full garrison on these buildings. It just depends. Now, it looks like there is some need for more reinforcements on there. And while I say that, the Desert Altar for UCS getting taken by, getting taken by r0se. I was looking at the colors there. r0se taking this building. This is a critical building. You need to have this building in your possession as long as possible. This is a little rough to see for UCS right off the gate, losing a major structure on their side right off the bat. And just like I said, if you have your presence on the forward part of the field against your enemy, they just can't press forward. And when you're doing that, that leaves the back lines able to really kind of relax a bit, bring a few more armies forward, things like that. We've got r0se over here. So you see what I'm saying? They sat here waiting for the rally, and now that there's probably no rally coming or it's delayed because of what was happening with the forward-facing structures, now they can push forward. Now they can go ahead and bring some more armies to the front of the fight. It's the best defense is a good offense kind of situation. Here we have Sir Ragnar over here on the Shrine of Life, just kind of sitting tight, waiting for a rally to come in as well. UCS is doing a good job, however, of hitting up some of these back outposts. Like I said, these buildings are critical, especially if you can snag all three. You can stop them from generating points. That's 90 points per minute if you get all three. Right now, UCS has gotten them down 60 points per minute. And doing a good job of that, because right now those buildings are not producing points. And you can see that in the points per minute total here. Only 130 for UCS versus only 70 points per minute for r0se. Now, we do have the structures that were originally taken first getting to the point where they're going to start generating points, getting captured. 10 seconds left on those. You're going to see a big bump in points here shortly from both teams as all 8 of the main structures go ahead and start to capture. We do have a rally up here on the top with a Shrine of Life against r0se from UCS. Attila Takeda, definitely one of the more prevalent rallies in the game, although that's starting to change just a little bit with the prevalence of some commanders in the garrison that have really been able to withstand Attila Takeda's. Namely speaking of Theodora, Zenobia, those are all commanders that you're going to start seeing in these structures. Even Artemisia has been really solid against Attila Takeda in the right situations. Let's take a look at the Desert Altar. That looks pretty clear. I know. Gecko is just itching at the chance to talk to you guys. He wants to so bad. I can't get his audio through the thing. Okay. Yeah, do your thing. Perfect. Mm-hmm. here's here's a swarm with rally coming in at the bottom here from r0se against UCS, and this is the way that you beat those anti-Attila rallies, is you bring your rally and then you swarm alongside of it. You'll see that with a lot of the top tier teams. I do have Gecko trying to talk in the background at some point. He's coming in and out to try and see if you guys can hear what's going on. Yes, sorry, Gecko, go ahead and give me the F grade there for not being able to bring your audio through. That's entirely my fault. I think I almost had that same issue with Chiskel last week as well, but we were able to go ahead and clarify that and fix that. Unfortunately, this one's not happening. So, however, now that we're getting into the nitty gritty, 2.5 minutes, this is starting to get to be the, I don't want to say meta because that's just such a word, right? It's not the meta, but it's starting to become the norm. You got 2.5 minutes left, 2.5 to 3 minutes. That's when everybody starts to pour in. Now, I'm interested to see which skills start getting used because we started to see a change in the skills used as well. So right now, traditionally, before the last few weeks, really the bread and butter has been using war drums, using mystical formation, getting those attack and defense buffs alongside of what r0se just did, which is grabbing the Shrine of War right before coming to the middle. So they have both Shrines of War right now. That's huge. That's huge right now. And they have a Zenobia basically solo defending against this Attila Takeda rally in bullets, and it's just kind of sitting there chilling, doing its thing and not really getting touched. That's exactly what you need to do. You want to take both of those war structures right before you get into the middle and start clearing out your opponent, because right now UCS is heavy in the middle with some r0se in the back causing some damage. It looks like this Belisarius is just trying to get to half health so he can run with the arc. Let's see if this person is the one that actually ends up picking the arc up. And age M. All right, let's see if that's the way it works. Now here comes r0se pushing down at the temple. UCS kind of looking a little bit spread out. I'm curious to see if they go ahead and pull together and use fight to the death, or if they decide to go for war drums and mystical formation. Now keep in mind, there's war drums right there. That's from r0se. Let's see if we see a mystical formation thrown in there if they want to save the points. Save Gecko, something. And that didn't come through, man. Sorry. It's just not going to happen. Sorry, man. I apologize. There's mystical formation from UCS. So they're not doing any kind of fight to the death just yet. Now, keep in mind, guys, fight to the death is one of those really powerful skills that can turn the tide of a battle, but you can only use it once. So one time is the only time you can use that throughout the match because of the timer that you have on the actual skill. So you want to use it in a very critical situation, but when you do use it, you do end up tending to just completely melt your opponents when you do it. So here comes all the buffs now. We've got war drums, we've got mystical formation, we've got tons of swirly red and blue circles around all these marches because they are hella buffed. And now we've got sky altars blinking over here from UCS against r0se, and r0se looks like they're going to capture this with an Edward rally and swarm as another rally from UCS goes ahead and just walks by. This Zenobia is going to go down because of the swarm. Zenobia is a little susceptible to a swarm. Looks like r0se went ahead and defended this structure too. Let's jump back in the middle because this is about to pop. UCS does have the arc, although it is down now again. So this is probably going to be a fight for the next probably 3 to 5 minutes at least. We've got a lot of buffs going on, but UCS is looking to take this arc because they are sending r0se back packing. My goodness. There's a lot of red marches, and the blue marches are running away with sad faces because they've been smashed. Let's see what the points per minute for r0se is. So 590 points per minute for r0se versus only 360 for UCS. r0se is doing a great job in the structure game. You can definitely tell. They're taking buildings, they're holding them just long enough to go ahead and capture a couple more points, and then UCS is taking them back, and then they're going to have to start the capture process all over again. And in that time, r0se has already sent another rally. So they're doing exactly what they need to do to disrupt the points per minute generation of their enemy, and they're doing a great job. This Charles is also kind of holding on its own here, doing just fine. This Charles Theodora is basically taking and soloing this this Attila Takeda rally, doing a very good job there. This Shrine of War down here at the bottom will likely stay in UCS's hand here. 3 armies swarming is just not going to take out a Theodora. I'm sorry, a Zenobia Theodora. That's a fantastic pairing there. You can see it's barely getting touched with 3 armies swarming it, and it's going down pretty quickly too. Let's go over to the Shrine of Life down here. Ooh, big swarm with rally. This is definitely going to go down in favor of r0se. r0se is going to take the Shrine of Life from UCS on the bottom. Let's look at the Sky Altar on the top. There's another rally from UCS. Well, that's not a rally. That's a swarm from UCS. This Guan trying to hold everything it can to not lose this structure with 1.5 minutes left before the cap. We do have Iron Kraken coming in from the top, trying to come in with a reinforcement to maybe hold it just long enough so that maybe they can get some more reinforcements. Yep, here comes another one. Pika coming down. I'm not sure if he's going to pop inside that Sky Altar or if he's just going to kind of try and hit the armies around it. But there's another reinforcement. Fantastic. So now we're looking at half full on that Guan. Not exactly the best garrison, but it does work in a pinch. However, we do have a Guan rally coming in from UCS, and as long as it's at least half full, I think that they're going to take that Sky Altar back, no problem. But the damage was done, right? They weren't generating 150 points per minute for about 5 minutes. That does stack up, guys. That's a huge deal. Here comes the Arc. UCS does have it in stride, in mass. There's one player here from r0se trying to cause some disruption, but I just don't see there being enough presence on this Arc for UCS to lose it without totally giving it away. You might drop the Arc Carrier there and give some more time for maybe some more reinforcements from r0se to come down, but yep, still didn't do it. I mean, it was just that much. There's so many UCS marches kind of parading this Arc down. Looks like they're taking it on a tour of the countryside as well, because they're bringing it down towards the obelisk, which is pretty smart. I think that they did the middle fight so much. I think whenever you have to kind of look at it, right? Their strategy. You can either go ahead and capture the Arc really quickly, or you can go ahead and hold it. And there's a timer that prevents you from holding it forever. But if you hold it for as long as you can, that really eliminates at least one Arc from being spawned, because you're just delaying the capture of everything. So with that being said, UCS has really kind of taken that Arc with no problem. Usually you see people holding these Arcs whenever it's a tougher matchup in the middle for them. They don't know if they necessarily are going to win that next Arc capture. So they want to go ahead and hold it and at least have it in their control when they're doing it and take the buildings. Well, r0se has the building game right now. They have both of their desert altars, or both of their altars in general, but they also have the Shrine of Life at the bottom of UCS, and they did just lose a third altar that they had at least stopped UCS from generating points from. So, I mean, the points per minute game is going heavily in favor of r0se. Now you've got 2 players over here, 3 players over here from r0se, basically dropping the Arc over here. Fortunately enough for UCS, there's no building except the obelisk here that r0se can capture to dunk that Arc into. Divine Aid being used by one of the teams as well. It looks like UCS, because they're the ones that have the teleports, and r0se does not. Looks like r0se is losing their 3 marches over here. I mean, this was kind of like a final effort, right? But they would have had to take the obelisk to even have a chance to capture this, or maybe bring it, all the way back across the map. That would have been quite a sight to see, but there's just no way. There's no way to do that with all these look at all these marches from UCS. It's crazy. You got so many marches here, it's insane. One thing to keep a peek at every single time I cast with Gecko, and I know you can't hear him, and it's all my fault, and I apologize. Every time I cast with Gecko, provisioning is a thing. It just, I don't know why, but that's just the way it works. Whenever I cast with Gecko, provisioning ends up deciding some part of the game. Let's see what's going on up here at the obelisk. Ooh, this is nice. So this r0se rally is doing some damage on this Constantine. What's Constantine what? Constantine Richard? Yeah, Constantine Richard defense against an Attila Chandra. That's interesting. Interesting combination. I've seen it do okay. I haven't seen it do this well. I'm wondering if this obelisk is just way undermanned, which is kind of what I'm thinking, because the numbers are just looking really, really large for the rally when they probably shouldn't. But this is looking good. So this is, if UCS doesn't go ahead and pour some, there we go. They're starting to pour some reinforcements in there just at the right time, just in the nick of time. And r0se doesn't look too pleased about that, throwing out the emoji right there. Everything is blinking, guys. Let's take a quick jump as this rally continues over to a Sky Altar here at the bottom. Again, rally plus swarm happening from r0se. This is what wins battles, guys. This is what helps them win the battle, because you're talking about losing one of your biggest point per minute structures in the game over and over and over and over again throughout the matchup. Doesn't matter how many arcs you capture. If you just stop them from generating points, which is basically what they've done for the majority of the match, because you're at 480 points per minute again. UCS has been sitting there for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Well, guess what? You're about to possibly lose your other structure here, although UCS really holding this structure, I think, for the first time this whole match. This is the first time they've successfully defended that rally and swarm combination. I think that's what really has been getting r0se the buildings on the UCS side. UCS putting a few extra folks over here helping defend that structure. So good job to UCS for holding that altar. And while we look at that, up here again, unsupported Attila rally against a Charles Theo. This will always go in favor of the garrison. The garrison is built to take on an Attila Takeda rally. You're going to be just fine if there's no swarm or no reinforcement. You just kind of let it run its course and refresh your troops and move on about your day. Let's go over to the Shrine of War on the UCS side. Zenobia defending there against an Attila rally. However, look at all the r0se marches coming down. Oh my goodness. Tons of skill animations popping off. We've got Edward. We've got Tamiris. We've got William, I see, throwing some knights out on the battlefield. I do see quite a few mobility-led armies on the UCS side, which is curious. You want to have beefy, heavy damage-dealing primary commanders on the open field against somebody like r0se, bringing in 20, 30 armies to take this Shrine of War. And as I say that, I was looking to see when the next arc is going to spawn, but sure enough, UCS has not captured the arc yet. There's still 7.5 minutes on the timer for UCS to capture that arc, and this player is just kind of sitting it, holding it in their pocket, waiting for the time they decide they want to go ahead and capture. I'm not sure if that's the right play, guys. I think that ultimately they should have captured that and put their efforts back into the structure game, because right now they're losing the structure game pretty handily. UCS is doing a good job of keeping reinforcements in this Zenobia, and even with all of those troops coming down from r0se, UCS doing a fantastic job. I thought for sure this Shrine of War was going to go down with little to no problem, but this Zenobia is holding up strong. All of those r0se armies that came down to reinforce are starting to look very, very suspect, looking to lose some health on the swarm, and then UCS is just kind of working their way around the structure, hitting all the swarming parties, hitting the rally. This is going to stay, it looks like, UCS's building, which is surprising. r0se put a lot of armies into that Shrine of War. They wanted that Shrine of War, and they just got denied. Very well done by UCS. Unless they can still keep it up. I mean, there's still some armies around, but I just don't, yeah, there's no way. I think that UCS is going to take this structure. Look at that. These armies are, yep, there goes the rally. There's a couple swarming armies left, but that's not going to be enough unless UCS just starts pulling their troops out. Very interesting to see UCS do that. I've not seen a successful garrison like that in quite some time. 30, 40 armies coming down from r0se, all getting sent back. Look at all these sad faces going back to their cities. Now, this rally isn't doing anything. UCS, if they really want to get back into this game and really kind of take the initiative and take the reins of this match, they need to start supporting their rallies. They're just not sending rallies with support. If they want to take some of r0se's structures, which I don't think I've seen them lose all day, or all match, I should say, I don't think they're going to be able to do it just sending rallies empty. Like, just sending just rallies, it's just not working. You see on r0se's side, like, they've got 10 armies sitting here waiting for this rally to come, and then once that rally hits, they're going to jump over to the building and swarm it down. That's what takes buildings in this level of Osiris League. You have to have supported rallies. Let's take a look at this Sky Altar here on the right. Same thing. Here's another supported rally with Swarm. And again, there's just a lot of armies here for UCS. They are successfully defending. However, that means they're not sending anything with their rallies, so they're not going to take anything. They're behind on the points per minute game. I think they're just trying to even things out. We have the arc. Let's see if we can out-provision. Let's see if we can just keep our structures and then maybe snag a couple outposts or something. And maybe that's their play. Because right now, I mean, they're down by, what is this, 10, 11, 12, 3,000 points. That's basically their arc. So if they captured the arc, they're going to basically be even. It's going to be an even match. It's like we haven't even played the last 25 minutes. But we've had some action, so we can't complain too much, right? This arc over here still just kind of sitting beside the city, waiting to be captured. If they do capture it now, it will be even. But again, the points per minute total is favoring r0se significantly. They still haven't captured all of their structures yet on a points per minute basis. Let's see when we start to see this start to even out what the actual total difference is, the delta between these two huge teams. Let's take a look at this rally in Swarm as well. This Attila rally just hitting the Desert Altar here for UCS with Swarm. More r0se coming in, more r0se streaming down from the top. They're pouring in. I think r0se wishes they might have had these guys down here a little sooner. If they were all swarming right now, I think they may have taken this structure. UCS doing a great job of clearing out all of these armies around this Desert Altar, but if they had maybe these 10 armies that are coming down already here, I think this Zenobia would have went down and they would have lost that points per minute total again. Look how slow this UCS Attila rally is, though. It's going very slowly. That's curious. Usually those are a little bit faster. But it's odd. Like throughout the match, right? I think we've all seen on this match here, all these open field engagements, r0se is just losing. Like maybe it's a commander issue, maybe it's a buff issue, maybe it's an equipment issue, but I think every open field matchup I've seen where it's just been head to head, r0se has lost. UCS has been doing a great job of clearing open field fights. They've been doing a fantastic job of it. You can see all the damage being put out here. Zenobia is still trying to hold the structure, but it is in the red with more r0se coming down. Now, these 3 armies at the top from r0se, 4 or 5 armies from the top, need to come down and start swarming this altar to get it down. If you can get this down, that's 150 points per minute for at least 3 minutes that they are going to deny. And I just crashed, I think. Shoot. Let's see if this is going to happen. Please. I'm sorry, Gecko. I'm sorry, man. Here. Yeah. Let me undo Skype and we'll redo it again. One sec. See if it works. Yeah, it's not gonna work. It's the software. Sorry, man. Chat saved me. That's your tip. Oh no. Oh, I got on the wrong account. F. How dare you? Not nice. Not nice. Oops. There we go. We're back in the game. I try not to give Gecko too much time to eviscerate me in the chat. So let's jump over to some of these buildings here and see how they're doing. Here's a huge swarm and rally again on the Sky Altar, but this one looks like it's going to go down. Look how low. Ooh, there's a pop-in for the reinforcement from UCS right at the last second. My goodness, that was insane here. Let's see if they can hold this structure. This is huge. It looks like UCS did hold the Desert Altar that they have on the bottom side, so good job to UCS for holding that. I don't see it blinking anymore. Let's see if they can hold the same over here. I think they're doing a great job so far. They're putting in just enough to keep it on their side, although, like Gecko has said in previous matches before, the better you're going to do is having maximum reinforcements, not just enough to butter your bread. You want to have the whole loaf here. You want to make sure that you are maximizing your damage that you're putting out with that Zenobia garrison. And right now that rally did go down, but there is still some swarm, but it's kind of weak. The biggest march you've got is a Guan and a Richard, and they're doing what they can, but there's enough UCS armies around here, I think, to where this is also going to hold in favor of UCS. So well done to UCS for holding the structure. It looked like it was going down quick. Maybe. Oh my goodness, did you see that swap? Did you see that swap where it just had a sliver of health left, and now it's back up to a decent chunk here? This still isn't 100% safe, but I think that they're going to be okay. If they maybe put one more reinforcement, yeah, we're just going to kind of sit here and watch this one, because this is a thing. This could be a thing. All right, there goes 2 armies from r0se. There's still 1, 2, 3, 4 armies, but they're almost all in the deep red. The Saladin's going back from Pika right there. We have the Guan and the Attila both with super red marches here. Yeah, I think that UCS will, in fact, hold this. Well done to them. I was almost... I thought for sure I saw that they were going to go ahead and lose that whenever they did that swap, but they jumped in just in the nick of time. It's happening again. What happened? What is happening right now? There we go. Okay, I can't watch this anymore. We have to look at the other one. I can't watch that one anymore. It just keeps going down too low whenever they swap out their armies. I can't just sit there and watch it. Okay, a Richard garrison with Constantine secondary in this Desert Altar with the Attila Takeda on it, doing a pretty good job of garrisoning here, although it is taking some significant damage now. There is not many UCS armies around here because guess what? They captured the Ark while we were crashed and are now going to the middle again. So 3 minutes left until the Ark spawns again. We're going to go take a peek at that in just a little bit. I want to just keep an eye on this Desert Altar because there is some support here from r0se to possibly take this Desert Altar while everyone else is coming over from UCS into the middle. The points per minute game is at 560 points per minute for r0se and 590 for UCS. So a little bit of a points per minute advantage for UCS right now. To the death being used, that means I've got to jump to the middle. There's just no way I can miss that. Now here we go in the middle. This is a critical arc. We got 26 minutes left in the match. Tons of action happening in the middle, but look at all of these defeated armies going for both directions. Did they both use fight to the death? I'm not 100% if they did. I know I at least saw one, but we definitely see some significant damage getting pumped out here, guys. A little more even, at least right now, on the armies getting defeated. Before, on the last arc, you saw it. r0se was taking a lot more defeated armies than UCS was, and that's why they just had 20 armies escorting the arc back. Whereas right now, it's looking a little more even. r0se is still losing, I think, a few more armies than UCS is, but UCS is starting to pour a lot more reinforcements in, too. r0se a little bit slower on the reinforcement uptake. We do have some people coming in from the top. Let's see if there's any coming from the left. I don't see any from the left. There's just so many graphics going on, Sky. It's hard to kind of tell what's happening here in the middle. Let's see. Still some more r0se leaving the scene of the crime here, leaving the action. Yep, r0se is starting to lose a little more. You saw 5 armies for r0se go when only 1, 2 armies for UCS go. Here go a few more UCS, but also a few more r0se. Oof, this is big. We see a lot of fighting here in the middle. I will say I think r0se is losing more armies, but I think they've also committed more to the middle. You can see now UCS is really starting to bring up some more from the bottom here too. This double C-led army just got instantly melted. Because that's what double C-led armies do. And let's take a look while we're waiting for that middle army to kind of flesh out. This Edward getting swarmed down against this YSS. That's not going to happen for r0se. Also on this Desert Altar, r0se losing that rally, that Attila rally against what I think was a Richard Constantine, which is not bad. And UCS has taken some outposts. And again, we talked about this earlier in the matchup, guys. Outposts, while they don't seem very critical, kind of are. They generate a good chunk of points as a group. So let's take a look back in the middle here and see how the match is going, and hopefully not explode the internet with all the action that's happening right here. So r0se has the arc and is pushing it using running charge, which again, people have started to go away from these movement speed buffs because people also have bogged down, and there's so many there's bogged down right there. There's so many anti-movement speed commanders out there that while running charge is nice, and the other one I'm struggling to remember that one. Swift Stride, I think, is the name of it. It's just not as much as what you see out on the battlefield for free. There's movement speed marches for free that you can get, and people are going away from the running stride or running charge and Swift Stride type of mechanics in favor of more buffs on the battlefield, more damage on the battlefield, more stats to be more effective in the fight itself. Now, we've got some r0se players down here kind of just hanging out. They were kind of sitting in maybe the circle of death that was down here and decided to just camp. They could be used up in this fight up top where the arc is at. We've got r0se moving this arc, continuing to move it towards their desert altar here at the top. And just you said 3K or 4K? Just as an update on the other match as well, not to try and spoil it for you guys, but 1008 is down by 4,000 points at the moment, which is one arc, so it's not over. But just to let you know, 1008 is down against 374 in their matchup that's happening at the same time right now as well, just to give you a heads up. So this match continues in the middle here. The arc came down a little more, UCS grabbing it and bringing it down just a little bit more. r0se still pouring in alongside of UCS, pouring into the middle. These are really, this arc is going to be a critical arc. There's just over 20 minutes left. And with this arc, which r0se has just picked up and has started moving, let's see if we can grab the arc. Oh, he's down. Pika lost it, but he had it. And he lost it, but he had it. And now he lost it again. So we've still got a lot of blue armies around here from UCS coming in with the red armies. It's starting to even out. I mean, they are pouring. Look at all these marches that are coming into the middle. They are pouring marches in, and they're almost all calves, so they're coming in fast. They're coming in hot. Let's see the points per minute really quick as well. 530 points per minute for r0se, 650 for UCS. The reason being, again, they captured those outposts, guys, and they are also attacking the other outpost. It's not just about the big buildings in the middle, like we said earlier. It is about the outposts. If you can capture all three, that's what your points per minute is going to look like, guys. These fights in the middle are critical, but you got to keep your points per minute to make these as effective as possible, because when you're losing your buildings behind getting this Arc of Osiris, sometimes you're just getting the arc to make sure you stay in the game instead of win the game. And right now, it's basically an even match, 20,500 to 20,300 in favor of r0se for right now. But with this point per minute gap, you're looking at 2 minutes, and this match is evened up. In fact, 1 minute because it just ticked. There might also be some provisions coming in, Gecko. I'm not 100% about that, but I think maybe they are. So, sneak peek, sneak insight from Gecko. I'll go ahead and pass it on. Thank you, Gecko. 1 player provisioning for UCS, whereas he sees 4 for r0se. So that could be a big part of what's happening in the late game here. And if they can capture this arc as well, which UCS just grabbed and dropped immediately, this would give them a significant endgame advantage. If they can get a 3,000 to 4,000 point lead at the end and they out-provision their opponents, guess what, guys? That is a win. And I guess Gecko now has a new hashtag, Gecko Chimes. And that's working out brilliantly, I think, for you guys, the viewers, because guess what? You just get more info, even though we had a little bit of an audio issue, and he could just give it to you himself. But, you know, we live. We live together. we watch together, and this is how it's going to work. So Gecko chiming in is working brilliantly, I think. I love it. This might just be the new thing. They don't grind his gears. They definitely just, he chimes in. We have. So, again, UCS really trying to get there, but The problem with the way this works, and this is not UCS's fault, but as the arc starts to get towards one side of the map, it becomes more and more difficult to reinforce from the bottom. So UCS, while they are pouring reinforcements in from the bottom here, they're coming in one at a time. So r0se can go ahead and say, okay, well, that's a Genghis coming in. I can go ahead and just attack and swarm that guy down before he even comes anywhere near the arc carrier. Oh, that's a r0se. Let me go ahead and swarm that down. Oh, that is a Takeda lead. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. And they let through maybe the slower marches like a Richard or a Herald even or something like that. So you can kind of pick and choose and just instantly target things down with their murder ball here. The other thing, too, again, they are picking it up again. r0se grabs it. Ronnie Skidmarks is the name. They're going to go ahead and take it over here to the Desert Altar because, again, guess what? They don't have their outpost. Dun, dun, dun. No outposts over here. They're all in favor of UCS. Not only are they in red, they are captured and generating points. And with that being said, UCS takes their first lead of the game by 30 points. Look at this. UCS has the lead for the first time this match. r0se has been basically in control of this game. But again, r0se has the arc. That's critical. This is a big deal. If they can capture and or hold this arc, which I think this is a situation where I think they actually should hold the arc. r0se should go ahead and hold it. Look how much time and effort and energy it's taken to get this arc. And with that being said, look at this. The Shrine of Life goes down on the r0se side. They're just losing all their buildings because they've committed so much to the middle. It's now 420 point per minute versus 620 point per minute game. Look at all these things. Now, they are finally taking their outpost back. That is a big deal. They need to get those points generating back in favor of r0se. They need to clear the field, and I would expect, in my opinion, which they just did. They just cleared the field and there's no UCS around. I would hold this for another 8 minutes. That would basically guarantee that there are no more arcs coming. And if you think you're out provisioning, it's an even matchup and you're out provisioning your opponents and you have a 3,500 point arc, why not keep it? That's the way I would do it. And I think that's what r0se is doing right now. Let's see if that's the decision they make or if they decide to go ahead and just capture it. Because if they capture it right now, there will be time for one more arc. If they decide to hold it, there will not be enough time if they hold it for about 8 minutes, which they can do. In fact, I think they just dropped it on purpose to give it to another player. That's interesting. So what they did was to drop the arc, by the way. You can hop in any non-owned building and you will drop the Ark of Osiris. And that's basically what they did as the handoff for those two players, just to give you a little pro tip. Now here's a rally on this Desert Altar for UCS against r0se. This Zenobia is looking a little suspect, a little rough when it comes to holding this structure. UCS with a solid swarm here. Now this is the UCS I remember. Like, swarm everything. Just get it down. And that's exactly what they just did. UCS taking this Desert Altar in favor of their team, at least stopping the point generation for the r0se side. But as that happens, look at all the r0se coming back from the middle fight, coming back from that long campaign in the middle where they were taking the arc and they have stories to tell. They're coming over here and they are ready to take their structure back. And that's exactly what's happening. This Artemisia was like, wait. We just got this. Don't let us lose this building. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Look at all the UCS just starting to get melted as these r0se come over here and try and take this building back. It looks like it's about to happen. There's a couple reinforcing armies here coming up from Ende on the UCS side, but I just don't think that's going to be enough. Look at all the blue. There it goes, back in favor of r0se. With that being said, let's go look at the bottom Desert Altar. I think we just read each other's mind there. Here comes a Attila rally doing a very good job against this Zenobia. This Zenobia just does not have the reinforcements inside, and yet there are marches just kind of walking right past. No big deal. It's like it's not even happening. If we just put our hand up to the right side of our face, we don't see the fact that we're losing a building right beside us. We've got Fan Kaka running through, a bunch of O's and zeros running by. Here comes Ares deciding, you know what, maybe we do, in fact, need to have some troops inside of this Desert Altar to go ahead and hold it. And there you go. Now they've got some solid troops, but again, that's probably got about 400,000 troops inside of that altar, whereas this rally probably has 600,000 to 700,000. So again, unless there is a solid reinforcement coming in, which I see one from Bullets coming up, I see another one from the r0se guy, but the r0se guy might not be actually coming to the building. So we'll see. Back in red is the Desert Altar. It is holding. Let me go check up this Shrine of War because it's by the Ark. I want to make sure that we're not getting any shenanigans from the Ark perspective. I can't see this Shrine of War, how damaged it is because of all the armies that are around it. It looks like it's in rough shape. Oh, very rough shape. This might go down. UCS may take this. The rally is up. The swarm is here. This Shrine of War is likely, it is going to go down in favor of UCS. There it is right there. And with that being said, the Ark is very close, guys. Are they going to go up and try and capture this Ark, which we can't see for some reason? I clicked the Ark. There's nothing actually there on the map, but it's around. And with owning a building right here with decent reinforcements around it, it might make sense to try and cap that Ark. And as I say that, r0se takes the building back. They need to fill that building up quickly with something other than Edward leading it. This would be a big deal if they can hold this back, make sure that this Ark is not in danger of being lost. I think this player right here may have the Ark because it is kind of moving. Maybe. Yeah, I can't see the Ark for some reason. It is still held. Okay, so it looks like now hashtag Gecko chimes in here. One of the provisioners for r0se has decided to abandon his duties and come to the field and fight. So that's now we're down to 3 provisioners for r0se and still 1 for UCS. Again, this matchup is relatively even. It's about a 1,000 point match in favor of UCS right now, guys. The points per minute as well looking in favor of UCS. So I know that r0se has the Ark right now. As long as they keep that and do capture it in the next 2 to 3 minutes, they should be in very good shape. But we've got this one Chandra army basically causing some havoc in the back and stopping the outpost from generating points. That's a big deal. You have 250 points, 260 points per minute that you are losing because of those losses with the Shrine of War, the outposts, and I think we lost the Desert Altar somewhere in here too. We do have a rally at the bottom as well with basically even, although there's a lot of r0se armies there to kind of swarm that Attila down if he wanted to. I think that will probably go down in favor of r0se, although we'll keep an eye on it. Let's take a peek at the Shrine of War again. UCS trying to do what they can, but there's just so many r0se armies around there. Let's take a look on the UCS side and see if they're any threat of losing structures. Here we are at the Shrine of War. Big armies coming down for r0se with a solid rally from Blood Mage, really putting it to this Zenobia, and the swarm is starting, guys. Let's see if they're able to take this Shrine of War here. If they are, this would be a huge deal for r0se. It takes away the buffs, it takes away the points, and with 10 minutes left, that's kind of a big deal when we're talking about the end here, where it could be a 500-point match that decides the win here. It's very, very close. It's a lot close. Like, it's already close, you can tell, but it's a lot closer than I think you guys think it might be. It's still anybody's game. Provisions are going to be critical here at the end. The Ark is going to be critical here at the end. We got 10 minutes left. You could probably capture the Ark right now and still be fine. It takes about 7.5 to 8 minutes for the Ark to spawn. Then another 3 minutes. I knew it was going to happen. Every single time. Just dropped again. As soon as I hit the 10-minute mark, I always drop. So with that being said, as I load back in, it's close, guys. It is very, very close for both of these teams. Provisioning is going to really play a big part. You're also going to see how many people can hold structures for these last 10 minutes. Really, when we start getting down to the 5-minute mark, people are going to really start looking at provisions. Everybody's going to start throwing provisions into the matchup here. Let me get back into the game as well. Osiris League. Watch. Realm of Horus. And just to take a quick peek again, case 374 is up against 1008. That is a big deal. I think we picked the right one, though. So we were watching live, the right one. This is a very, very close matchup. It's within 1,000 points, roughly. So the Ark is over by the obelisk, kind of sitting here, held by the same army that is over here. Let's see. All the buildings are even right now, too. Let's take a look at the Shrine of War that we were looking at before and see if UCS has managed to kind of whittle down. It looks like they have. They have enough over here to reinforce if needed. It's a little light. I mean, all the armies here are really, really low, but I think that's because they've been swapping out armies in the building. So you got this UCS player over here who just kind of like lost half their health instantly, which was interesting, but a lot of red here. So I think that ultimately, as long as they reinforce correctly, UCS will hold that structure. Let's look at the r0se structure up here, sending this rally home. Nothing to see there. These buildings over here blinking. Let's take a peek. Wow, big fight over here by the Desert Altar on the UCS side. We've got 8 minutes left. This arc should be captured any second, which will again put r0se in the lead. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a provisions game because... And Gecko can't say anything. He's so hyped up about wanting to yell at me on live saying, it's about provisions, Drago. I've always told you it's about provisions. 1008 down. 100. How many O's did I put in there? 1008 down by 9,000 points. Hashtag Gecko chimes in. And that pretty much seals the deal. It's 7 minutes left. 9,000 points. That's going to be pretty much impossible to come back from. So... Huge victory for 374 there against 1008, which being a solid team in this Osiris League playoffs. They've done a very good job taking out quite a few heavy-hitting opponents. That's a huge deal. Let's take a peek over here. This is going to be, I mean, I would expect Gecko to be furiously typing as we wind down these last minutes of the match about provisioning. I'm going to take a quick peek in the back lines here and see if I see anything remotely resembling a game plan. Here comes more. This was actually the Arc Carrier also sending out some provisioning marches here. That's an even points per minute game at 560 each. Right now, it's a 1,200 point difference in favor of UCS. However, again, the Arc is not captured yet, which they can go ahead and capture it now. There's no threat of an Arc being spawned and captured anymore. 6.5 minutes left in the match. There's just not enough time. It's going to be 7 to 8 minutes to go ahead and capture it, and he only has 2 minutes to capture this arc. This might be something to watch, because if it, yes. So they'll see the game and they'll see the cast of the game. Well, I hear myself in the background. Interesting. Okay, so Gecko's telling me about the live cast. So for those of you that have for those of you that have not used it yet, yeah, just click the button. Yeah, if you want to watch it in the game, there's a button that has basically me and Gecko in the background, muted, but giving me some tidbits on what's happening across the map. And lots of skills happening over here at this Desert Altar. This could be big. I mean, you got 5 minutes left, right? If you can stop these large altars from generating points, even at the very end, that's 450 points that they would not get, and they do in fact capture the Arc. So Arc has been captured. It's 32,000 points 32,000 points versus almost 30,000 points for UCS. r0se in the lead right now, and again, now in these last 5 minutes, it all comes down to provisioning. We saw last week a huge win where provisions literally, what was it, a 5,000-6,000 point deficit win. It was a huge win. I couldn't believe it. When I was casting it with Chisco, we were losing our minds. It was a massive influx of points at the very end, and that's what ended up causing the match to go in favor of that team. I mean, it was amazing to watch all those points just start stacking up. So this is still anybody's game, guys. Even though it's just been one person provisioning on the UCS side, that person could be a master provisioner. I mean, there's people that do this for a living, right? Like, that is a role. It's a thing. It's not just about fighting. This is a multifaceted part of the game where if you are good at what you do, you could have a role. Now, with that being said, UCS is good at what they do. They just went ahead and took the Shrine of War on the bottom lane here from r0se. r0se trying to swarm it back down. This is really ineffective because right now, You got 4 minutes left. It's going to take 3 minutes to capture that building. You're only going to get 1 minute's worth of point from that Shrine of War. It's pointless now at this point. So as we wind down to the 3 minutes left in this match, the closer we get to 3 minutes, it's all about provisioning. If I was r0se and if I was UCS, I would just stop fighting. Send every army to provision right now. That's what should be happening right now, because there's nothing you can do other than taking desert altars, which is a big deal. If you can take the structures, that's fine. Away from the enemy, do it. But if you can't take the structures, then just go provision. Go provision, grab an extra 300 points for your army. That stacks up a lot when you've got 30 players at 5 armies each, all provisioning, which is what I see a lot of UCS farms happening right now on the r0se side, by the way. And I think they're doing it effectively too. Like they're using their fighting armies while they're waiting for things to fight. They're going ahead and hopping in the caravans to get a little bit extra, just that little bit extra points inside of their armies and bringing them back. Now, just remember how provisions work, okay? If somebody kills a farming caravan while they're inside the caravan, the points go away. The resources are not brought back to the city, and you don't get the points. However, if a farm is inside the caravan and it leaves the caravan and dies, as long as it's on the open field, those points do count. So that's a big distinction. You need to make sure that you understand the difference between those two things, because that means the difference between bringing back points and bringing back nada. So you need to make sure that you know how to play the game. This is a big deal. It's a big part of what the game is about. Provisioning has become more and more critical to victories at this level of the game, because if you don't do it, like I said, we saw at the end of last week, there was a 6,000 point swing in favor of the team that won by a couple hundred points because of provisioning. Killing farmers is a big no-no now. You're helping the enemy get their points in faster. If they're outside of the caravan, that's 100% correct. Gecko is 100% spot on. But if you can kill them while they're in the caravan, that's when it actually will be beneficial to you, because they do not get the points. So who are we going to see win here? We got a minute and a half left. It's a 2,500 point game in favor of r0se. We see some provisioning starting to come in. You're starting to see the numbers jump up in a significant way. Who are we going to see win? We got hashtag r0se, or do we have hashtag UCS? This is going to be down to the wire, guys, with just over a minute left. Put it in the chat. Who do we have to win? I'm going to check back through the chat, and I'm going to chastise all of you that are wrong, because obviously you should know who's going to win. Even though I don't, we're going to go ahead and get the accountability on you and not me. So with that being said, there still are this is pointless. This is a huge mistake by r0se. It's less than a minute left. Taking structures does nothing. You literally can't generate a point, because it's a points per minute game. This is a big mistake from r0se. All these armies should be gathering. There is running charge. They're charging these gathering commanders back. Usually you see running charge on an art carrier or somebody like battle critical, you know. This is a huge deal. You got one player here that got the running charge buff. I wonder if that's got like 3,000 provision, you know, something crazy, right? Nelson the Thief. Let's see how much it goes up. 39,300. Defeat. Let's see who got defeated. r0se gets the MVP, Iron Kraken. Love the name. And yes, r0se wins with 39,300 against just under 38,000 points from UCS. Look at the arc score, 3,500 to 3,000. Very, very similar. Well done to both of these teams for giving us an amazing matchup to watch, and for me to lose my voice on as I stole the show from Gecko with technical issues. I do apologize, but I do appreciate the new hashtag that we've developed alongside of this matchup, which is hashtag Gecko Chimes In, or just hashtag Gecko Chimes, which is very helpful because that helped you guys see the best action. So well done to r0se. Well done to UCS as well. That was an amazing fight. The kills went in favor of r0se, which I'm a little surprised about because I saw a lot more open field wins for UCS, in my opinion, on the field. So maybe I missed some bigger fights that went a little more on the r0se side of the way. But look at the units healed. 800,000 against on UCS. 6.6 million for r0se. That's significant. They wanted this match bad. They put the resources in. They put the speed ups in. The teleports are relatively even. Again, one arc for each team here. The occupation score was relatively even. The provisions ended up winning it. Look at that, 7,574 provisions versus 6,260. Both of these really high scores in provisioning at this level of the game. Huge win for r0se. I think some people won some coins on this matchup. Huge. I agree. And so Gecko, again, hashtag Gecko chimes in. So big mistake by UCS at the beginning, and I think we pointed that out. Holding on to that arc. UCS did a great job grabbing that first arc, and by holding it, it kind of let r0se reset. Instead of continuing that initiative and continuing that forward momentum, they sat on it. And again, I think we made that comment earlier in the match where UCS kind of, you should have just capped it. You shouldn't be holding on to it. I think we made that comment early on in the match. I think that was a thing that may have contributed towards this this victory for r0se. But it's easy to say, right, in 2020 hindsight, what worked, what didn't work. I think at the end of the day, r0se just did a really good job taking buildings, provisioning at the same time, and taking the later arc, which caused some more points. It ended up being, what is this, a 1,400 point match? I mean, this is a very close match, guys. And really it ended up coming down to 1,300 extra points in provisioning and that 500 extra points from the arc. It's as simple as that. So huge deal. 1,008 it seems as well. Let me go ahead and jump out of here as I want to, congratulate r0se and UCS for an amazing match for us to watch. Thank you so much for putting that on for us. Let's go ahead and quit out of here. I want to go back into the Osiris League setup here and go over the 13 UTC matches because those are a big deal. By the way, look at this. Let's see. Victory. I lost that one. I can't see in the Realm of Horus, though. Let me see. No, it won't let me show the league bets for Realm of Horus, but we'll at least look at the schedule. So let's see who won. We got 374 beating 1,008, but a lot closer matchup than we saw. I mean, just a little bit ago, they were down by almost 9,000 points, only losing by, looks like 1,500 points. So provisions came in at the end. Kind of crazy. 374 is taking the victory, though. Now we have to wait to see who wins the JWM versus Snow matchup in just under an hour. We're going to see how that works out. And again, r0se defeating UCS. This was an underdog win, guys. There's no doubt about it. UCS was the favorite heavily. But again, r0se taking the victory. And again, both of these teams put on an amazing matchup for us. Whoever wins the next matchup at 15 UTC of OV versus HKL will be taking on r0se in the semifinals. And then we will be 1 week closer to the finals. So I'm really looking forward to casting these matches with my cohort here, Gecko, who again will remain muted, unfortunately. Again, we may have some Osiris Invitationals coming out in the coming weeks as well after this is decided. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to having less audio technical issues and bringing in my my colleagues here, Gecko and Chiskel, into the matchups as well so they can put in their pieces without having to speak through me. And with that being said, guys, I really appreciate you all joining us in this match. We'll be coming right back at you in under an hour, bringing you the let's see, which one are we bringing you? We're bringing you the JWM versus Snow matchup here, live and local. So make sure that you join us here again. I appreciate you all coming in. We'll see you all next time. Cheers. Have a good one. And I'll do Gecko's sign out today because he didn't get to talk. Peace.